The following program contains graphic descriptions of violence and may include disturbing content. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to another gripping episode of Evil Exposed Killers. Tonight we delve into the life and crimes of Katherine Knight, a woman whose brutal actions shocked a nation. Known as the Butcher of Aberdeen, Katherine's story is one of violence, obsession, and unimaginable cruelty. Join us as we explore the dark journey of a woman who turned her skills as a slaughterhouse worker into tools of horror. This is the story of Katherine Knight, a tale of domestic violence taken to horrifying extremes. Katherine Knight was born on October 24, 1955, in Tenterfield, New South Wales, Australia. Her early life was marred by violence, instability, and psychological trauma. Katherine's parents, Barbara and Ken Knight, had a tumultuous relationship, filled with frequent and violent arguments. Barbara had previously been married to another man, with whom she had 4 sons. When she started an affair with Ken Knight, the family was ostracized, and they eventually settled in the small town of Aberdeen. Growing up in this chaotic environment, Katherine and her twin sister Joy experienced significant emotional and physical abuse. Katherine was particularly affected by her father's violent outbursts and her mother's tales of her previous abusive marriage. These experiences left deep psychological scars on Katherine, shaping her perception of relationships and normalizing violence as a way to solve problems. Katherine struggled academically, frequently acting out and showing signs of a volatile temper. She often got into physical altercations at school and had trouble forming healthy relationships with her peers. Despite these challenges, she left school at the age of 15 to work at a local slaughterhouse, a job that would have a profound impact on her life. The slaughterhouse job fascinated Katherine. She quickly became proficient with knives and was promoted to boning, a task that required precision and skill. Her colleagues noted her unusual comfort and enthusiasm for the gruesome work. She hung her boning knives over her bed at home, as if to signify their importance in her life. Katherine's personal relationships were deeply influenced by the dysfunction she witnessed at home. Her first significant relationship was with David Kellett, a hard-drinking co-worker at the slaughterhouse. Their relationship was volatile from the start, marked by frequent fights and violent outbursts. Katherine's temper was well known, and she would often physically assault David, who seemed unable to defend himself against her rage. Despite the violence, Katherine and David married in 1974. Their wedding night set the tone for their marriage. When David fell asleep after only consummating the marriage 3 times, Katherine strangled him, enraged that he was too tired to continue. This incident was just the beginning of a series of violent altercations. Katherine's temper and violent tendencies escalated, culminating in an incident where she tried to kill David by burning his clothes and smashing him over the head with a frying pan. David finally left her in fear for his life. Undeterred, Katherine moved on to other relationships, each marked by similar patterns of violence and control. Her relationship with David Saunders, another slaughterhouse worker, was no different. She quickly moved him into her home and became obsessively controlling. David found himself the target of Katherine's wrath, often suffering from her violent outbursts. In one particularly horrific incident, Katherine killed his puppy to demonstrate what would happen to him if he ever cheated on her. Despite these terrifying displays of violence, David stayed with Katherine for a few years before finally escaping her clutches. Katherine's next relationship was with John Chillingworth, with whom she had a son. This relationship, while also tumultuous, lasted for 3 years before Katherine's violent tendencies once again drove her partner away. Katherine then began a relationship with John Price, a local miner, in 1995. John was well-liked and known for his good nature. Initially, their relationship seemed promising and they moved in together. However, Katherine's controlling and violent behavior soon resurfaced. She would often argue with John, and their fights grew increasingly physical. Despite this, John stayed with Katherine, hoping things would improve. Little did he know, he was about to become the victim of one of the most gruesome murders in Australian history. As tensions in their relationship escalated, Katherine's violent outbursts became more frequent and severe. She would threaten John with knives and other weapons, leaving him in a constant state of fear. Katherine's manipulative behavior isolated John from his friends and family, making it difficult for him to seek help. The psychological and physical abuse took a significant toll on John's well-being. The warning signs were clear, but John, like many victims of domestic violence, found it difficult to leave. Katherine's threats and violent behavior created an environment of terror that made it nearly impossible for John to escape. Friends and colleagues noticed John's deteriorating condition and urged him to leave Katherine, but he was trapped in a cycle of abuse. By early 2000, John Price had grown tired of Katherine Knight's volatile behavior and decided to end their relationship. He had taken steps to protect himself, including seeking restraining orders and telling friends and colleagues about his fears. However, Katherine was not willing to let him go so easily. Her obsession with John turned deadly, leading to a night of unimaginable horror. On the night of February 29, 2000, Katherine visited John's home. Despite their recent separation, she managed to convince him to let her in. They had an intimate evening, which would be John's last. After John fell asleep, Katherine retrieved a set of knives she had previously hung over their bed as a twisted reminder of her slaughterhouse skills. In the early hours of March 1st, Katherine launched a brutal attack on John. She stabbed him repeatedly with her butcher's knives, inflicting over 37 wounds. The ferocity of the attack was such that John tried to escape, but Katherine chased him through the house, continuing her assault. Eventually, John succumbed to his injuries and died in his home. What Katherine did next shocked even seasoned investigators. After ensuring John was dead, she proceeded to skin his body with the precision of a butcher. She then hung his skin from a meat hook in the living room. Her gruesome actions didn't stop there. Katherine decapitated John and cooked parts of his body, preparing a macabre meal. She set the table with plates labeled with the names of John's children, indicating she planned to serve them their father's remains. The horrific scene was discovered by police the next morning after John's colleagues reported him missing when he didn't show up for work. The officers were met with a nightmare beyond comprehension. Katherine was found comatose from an apparent overdose, but was quickly revived and taken into custody. The trial of Katherine Knight was a media sensation, with graphic details of her crime shocking the public. Despite her initial claims of amnesia and insanity, Katherine was deemed fit to stand trial. The overwhelming evidence in her detailed confessions left no doubt about her guilt. On November 8, 2001, Katherine Knight was found guilty of John Price's murder. She was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, becoming the first woman in Australian history to receive this sentence. Katherine's horrific crime and her life of violence left an indelible mark on those who knew John and the broader community. Katherine Knight remains imprisoned, her name synonymous with one of the most gruesome and violent crimes in Australian history. The story of her life and her horrific actions serves as a chilling reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the devastating impact of domestic violence. The tragic and horrifying story of Katherine Knight serves as a chilling reminder of the potential for human cruelty. Her gruesome crime left a scar on her community and highlighted the devastating impact of domestic violence. As we reflect on this dark chapter, let us remember the importance of vigilance and support for those in abusive situations. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Evil Exposed Killers. Stay tuned for more stories where we uncover the darkest corners of human nature. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, evil thrives in silence. Please like and subscribe to Evil Exposed for more riveting stories.